My name is Jessica G. I am the mom and wife of the Bucket List family. We have been traveling for 2.5 years full-time on the road. So a while ago, we decided to sell everything. We wanted to do about 5 months of travel. That 5 months of travel has turned into 2.5 years, 50 countries, and probably 175 flights. We've been on a lot of airplanes, and our kids are expert travelers. They're so good. So today we're talking about making your kids expert travelers.
Oh, my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye, but the dawn is breaking, it's early morn. The taxi's waiting, it's blowing his horn. Already I'm so lonesome, I could die. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you wait for me. Tell me that you'll never let me go.
So we're expecting baby number 3 in like 2 weeks, really soon. We're super excited. But for this week, Garrett has taken Dorothy and Manila to Jamaica. And he went alone, flying solo with the kids. So normally that would be like a pretty big deal, I think, for a dad to take a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old across the country to go to Jamaica for a week. But for Garrett, it's a piece of cake. Not because of Garrett, but because the kids are expert travelers. They're so good and they're so easy. So here's 4 tips that you can do. The first one, bedtime stories. So something we've always done before we even traveled is tell our kids bedtime stories before they go to bed at night. And now when we travel, especially before a travel day, we make sure we sit down and we tell them about the travel day. And it's not just like, hey, we're going to go hop on a flight to California and, you know, whatever. We make it like a magical experience where it's you're going to go on this magical airplane, you're going to ride on the plane, and this is what you're going to do on the plane. And then when we arrive to this awesome magical place, it's going to be this. So instead of making it this boring, exhausting day, it's like this adventure that their kids are going on. They're ready for it and they're excited for it because it's something we've talked about coming up, and then always the night before we get on a plane. We make sure that we tell them a bedtime story and how fun and adventurous it's going to be. Have your kids pack their own bags. Something else that we do now is we make sure that the kids pack their own bags. They each have a small little backpack and they pack them themselves. They put in their toys, they put in their snacks, and so when they get on the plane, they're excited because they know what they have and they know what they can look forward to. A lot of times before we get on the plane, the kids are just so anxious to like get into the snacks and the toys that they've like prepared for themselves that they just don't even want to wait. Give your kids responsibility. So the kids are responsible for packing their own bags. And when I say bags, I mean like their backpack that they carry on the plane. They don't put in any heavy books or like really heavy stuff because they have to carry that backpack around the airport. And so everything that's in there fits in there, and they're responsible for it. Make travel exciting and not a chore. And then lastly, on the day of travel, we make sure it's fun and exciting. It's something that they want to do, and it's not a dreadful long day, even when you have lots of layovers, even when you're delayed. We just make sure that it's fun and it's something that we want to do. And it's not just getting there, but we're enjoying the journey as well. So I'm not going to lie. Traveling with an 8-month-old to probably 18 months is super duper hard. I wish I had more tips for you, but I really will just say good luck. It's very difficult. So we're having baby number 3 soon, and for me personally, we plan to travel when the baby's 2 months old, probably until they're 7 or 8 months old, because that is when the baby's just strapped in a carrier, they're nursing, they're sleeping, and they're just easy to kind of take on the go. Once you get a little bit older than that, it's hard because they get restless, they need to move around, and they also can't communicate, and they can't understand. I'm actually really surprised that Manila did so well. I mean, we left when he was 1 year old, and he spent that really difficult time traveling, but he's become a pro. He knows that he can sleep anywhere. Like we can show up to a hotel, lay down a pillow and a towel, and just say, go to bed, Manila, and he'll go straight to bed. He's super low maintenance. For 8 months to 18 months, that's just such a hard age to travel. And I just say good luck to you. But if you do have an 8-month to an 18-month-old, here's just a few like tips that you might want to consider when you're traveling. First of all, we prefer red eyes. If I know that my kid is super tired and going to sleep, I'll always pay extra. I'll always go out of my way to get a red eye so that they're more likely to sleep. With that, we sometimes give our kids melatonin gummies. Make sure that you test those out beforehand and you see how they react. Dorothy reacted very, very well to them, and she would pass out. It would knock her out. I remember, I think it was a 12-hour flight from LAX to Fiji, and Dorothy was so excited for the airplane. She was so excited. We gave her a melatonin gummy. It was a red eye, and she fell asleep, and I had to wake her up when we were landing so she could sit up, and she was so sad she missed the whole flight. But that melatonin gummy, it worked wonders, and she slept a full 11 hours on that flight. Manila, on the other hand, he doesn't respond to them very well. So he will wake up groggy and cranky, and he's kind of in and out of sleep. So you do need to make sure that if you are going to use melatonin gummies, that you know how your kid responds to them. I would say the majority of the time they do wake up kind of groggy and cranky, but if it knocks them out for 8 hours, then that's a win. Especially when traveling with young babies, if you're traveling for the first time, make sure you take advantage of the flight attendants. They're so kind and so helpful. When you check in at the airport, sometimes you can ask them if it's a full flight. If it's not a full flight, sometimes they'll actually give you the extra seat, or they'll let you take on your car seat if your baby's going to sleep better in a car seat. So make sure that you are just always asking the flight attendants and the flight crew basically how you can make the flight better for yourself and for your baby and for everybody else. Because if you're happy and your baby's happy, then all of the other passengers are happy and everything's all better. So don't be afraid to ask for help, to ask for extra seats, to ask for pretty much anything extra. You know, even sometimes like if they're selling snacks and my kid needs a snack, I'll just go and ask them, and they'll almost always just give me a snack. The flight attendants are so kind, and especially a lot of the experienced mom flight attendants are so willing to help. So don't be afraid to ask for help from them and also from other passengers. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you are holding your baby and you have your bag and you need help putting it in the overhead bin, people will help you, and take the help and be grateful for it. So many people are so kind and feel for traveling parents and how difficult those times can be. So just take the help where you can get it and don't be afraid to ask for it. We like to buy snacks that take a long time to eat. So like string cheese or picking raisins out of a box. Sometimes when you're just on those like 2-hour flights, having your snacks that are also your entertainment are really, really great. So when Manila was maybe 18 months and he was walking around, we'd be in these long flights, and he would just need to walk, and I was just following around. I would put headphones in and listen to audiobooks as I would just walk laps around the plane. But it made it more bearable for me. Okay, and my last tip for anybody traveling, really ever, but especially with your family and with your kids, is how much your kids and your family will feed off of your energy, especially as a mother. I feel like we set the tone for the whole family. So if you're cranky, you're stressed, you're frustrated, then everybody else is too. But if you can breathe and enjoy it and just try to be as positive and upbeat as possible, then everybody else will. If you make it a fun adventure, then it will be a fun adventure. If you make it a grueling travel day, then it will be a grueling travel day. So I'm constantly in debate about this because, especially with young babies, getting them into routines as soon as possible is very important. Being able to predict what your child needs and when they need it is a really great tool as a mother. But something that we've had to do is just live a life of inconsistencies and not as much routine as I would normally like. But because of that, our kids are so much more low maintenance. They know that yes, they'll have a bed every night, and yes, they're going to sleep at a certain time, but that bedtime might be in a pack and play in a bathroom with the lights off. It might be in a bed next to mom. It might be wherever, but our kids are super low maintenance and can sleep anywhere. Our favorite thing is to always have friends come and travel with us, but some of our friends who haven't traveled and have their kids in really strict routines at home have a very, very difficult time adjusting. Not saying that you shouldn't have a routine at home because it makes things at home very easily, but if you're never giving your child anything different, then when they are given a different circumstance, they're going to lose it. So for us, inconsistency is the only constant in our life. So traveling can be really exhausting, especially when you're going somewhere to Europe, or really wherever, for a week, and you have saved up and you've prepared and you've taken the time off It's something that you're really looking forward to. And so when you go on vacation, you hit it hard and you want to see it all and do it all. We've learned that because this is our lifestyle and we're not on vacation, that we have to take it slower. And also when you have kids, you have to go at their pace. You will just get burnt out and frustrated and stressed out if you try to see it all. And with kids, you're not going to see it all, and they don't want to see it all. When we were in Vienna last summer, there was so much I wanted to do and see, but my kids didn't want to go see any of the museums. They didn't want to go see any of the art. They didn't want to see any of the architecture. So every single day in Vienna, we went to Stadtpark. We went to the park. We'd watch the ducks. We'd play around at the playground, and that's it. So if you want to ask me about Vienna, I can't really tell you anything about it besides that they have a really good park. So if you're going to Europe with kids, just go slow. Enjoy what you can. Maybe take them to the museum and then make sure they have time to go to a park or play at a pool or do something active that they want to do. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun for them, and it's for sure not going to be fun for you. And just remember, kids are kids, no matter what. People ask how it is traveling with kids. It's the same as at home. You know, kids are kids, and they don't care where they are. They're going to throw a tantrum at the grocery store, at your house, or I remember both of our kids losing it at the bamboo forest in Japan. I was so excited to be at this bamboo forest, and it was so beautiful, and both kids were just melting down. So just go at their pace and don't get frustrated. I think my husband and I have pretty high expectations for my kids. We expect them to carry their own backpacks. We expect them to behave on planes. We expect them to behave in restaurants. And I think when you give your kids high expectations and responsibilities, even at 2 years old and 4 years old, they'll live up to the expectations. So we're living here in Utah right now while we wait for baby number 3. And last week we went to gymnastics. We took Dorothy to gymnastics. And I was amazed at what these little 4 and 5-year-olds were doing. And the teacher said, okay, go climb this rope. And it was like a rope, probably 40 feet up to the ceiling. And I could never do that. And I was just kind of watching them. And these little girls are just climbing up the rope. Like it was no big deal. I couldn't get 2 feet off the ground. But because these gymnastics coaches just expected it of them, they just did it. And I'm amazed at how far their limits were and how much Dorothy could do when she was just expected to climb this rope. And I think if we have high expectations for our kids, they live up to them. Our kids know how to sit at a dinner table with adults and be respectful and be quiet. And they know how to get on a plane and not make a ruckus and not kick the seat in front of them because they're expected to. And we always correct their behavior when they need to. But after time, if you have these high expectations, they'll for sure live up to them. But I'm so, so grateful for my 2 little kids that have done such an amazing job traveling the world for 2.5 years because it's not easy traveling and it's hard and it's exhausting. But there's no one else I would rather be spending this time with. There's no one else I would rather show the world than my husband and my little kids. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you learned something. You can follow us online as the Bucket List Family. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to email me, jessica@thebucketlistfamily.com. I'll try my very hardest to respond to your email. Thanks for watching.